Okay, so continuing our discussion regarding data aggregation and the group operations is the part two on the same topic, and we'll start with the quantile and the bucket analysis. So let's load our libraries into the environment, and we are creating here the first data frame, which has two column, data one and the data two. With the random, we are getting all these random values from the standard normalization, 1,000 values per column. And let's first see the top five values. So these are the five values, and next we are going to use the pandas cut function, which where we provide the columns and the size, means divide this particular data one into the four size of group, and assign that into the quantiles. So let's see the four groups we have. So as you can see, the four groups are here, right, in the bottom, and these are the first five readings. Next, I'm creating the user defined function, which is taking the group as a parameter, and it is returning one data frame, which is the minimum of the group, the maximum, the count, and the mean. Right? Let's run this. Now in the frame data frame, we are grouping based on these four groups. So all the data is divided into four groups and will be kept into the groups. And in this group, we are going to apply this inbuilt function, what is get stats. So as I see, these are the four groups, as you can see in the index, and the four functions output, the minimum, maximum, the count, and the mean is visible here. You can do this same operation using the aggregation function and providing the uh, functions which you want to apply on the group. So in this we have five functions: the minimum, maximum, the count, mean, and standard deviation. Now let's talk about the filling missing values with the group specific values. So this is going to be very helpful when you do the data analysis, because none of the data which we get in the real time uh, is perfect, right? There are going to be the missing values, and the one of the ways to fill and how to fill those missing values, we can use apply this these codes here. So let's create the one series. We have six values, and let's keep make the second value as the nan, right? Starting with the first, second, right? And now to fill this uh, NA, there's a function call on on the series itself, fill NA, and we are calculating the mean. So if I just say what is the mean of this series, so it's 9, and we want to apply this field and fill it in the NA. As you can see, the same values is filled in place of the NAs. Let's create two list states and the group key. And in this next we are going to create the series of 8 values, right, and keep those indexes as the state. Okay, this is what we have. And let's make the Vermont, Nevada, and Idaho as the NAs. Again, you can group this based on the data group key. So group key is what? East and west. So we are grouping all this data into east and west and calculating the size. So what is the size is 4 for each, right? Let's keep the group by using the group by in the group variable, and again using the on the group you can use the aggregation function and apply multiple function. If I can run this, and you can add as many as when you want. So like inbuilt function, I want to mean, so minimum, it is also calculating the minimum. You can create the fill mean. So what is it? Just taking the group as the argument and filling the NA's value if there are any with the mean value of that particular group, right? If I run this, so the earlier the these were NA's, right? Form out and all these are filled with the group. Group means first is calculate the mean and then update the values. Next, let's first see one of the example of the group weighted average and the correlation. So we are creating the one data frame with the categories having 8 values of A and B's. Then the data is from the standard normal. distribution and the weight from the uniform, right? Let's see, this is the data frame we have, and we are doing the grouping based on the category means. There will be two groups, and in this user-defined function, I'm just taking one group, calculating the average and the weighted average, right? So we have two groups, and this is the weighted average of that particular group. Next, let's look up some of the stock data we have. So stock underscore px csv, there's a csv file which consists of some of the stock data of spx and the other companies. So we have four columns here. The first one is Apple, Microsoft, the ExxonMobil, and the SPX. Right? There are how many? 2,214 rows, and the data start from 2003 to 2011. So what we are going to check, we are going to check the correlation with all the group with respect to the SPX. So this is, it takes the group as the input, and with that group it will check the correlation with the SPX. So let's first calculate the returns, and you can calculate using the percentage change function and drop any if there are any, right? And here I'm just getting the year of that particular group. So I'm just grouping the return which I got using the get year here. And let's see the returns or the correlation with respect to the SPX. So what we did on this group, we have applied the function SPX correlates, which is with this group is how it is correlating with the SPX. So there are four groups, right? Apple, Microsoft, ExxonMobil, and the SPX. And as you can see, SPX with SPX, of course, it's one because it is 100% correlated, and the other three indus companies are correlating. So as you can see, the Apple is correlation is been increasing from starting 2003 to 2011, almost like 70%. So it's highly correlated with the SPX. Next, let's see the group transformation and unwrapped by group by. So what we'll see what mean by unwrapped here. So let's create the data frame. We have ABC multiply 4, so 12 values and 12 1 to 12 keys and the values. We are going to group by using the keys. So there are going to be three groups, and let's see the values. So ABC, and it just calculated the mean. You can also use the transform function, which is very similar to apply. It just take the function which you have created right in this. It's just taking the group as the argument and calculating the mean. So if I run this, so it's provided against each value. It has substituted by the mean value of that particular group. You can also do the same operation by just putting the mean as the baseline function. It gave the same output which was there. You can multiply by 2, right? So this is what each value will be multiplied by 2. Here we replace by the mean. Here we are just multiplying by the 2. Next, we are just getting the rank of each group, right? So starting with 4, 3, 2, 1, we have kept as heading as false. Normalize is nothing but it just normalize your data as with respect to the we are doing the subtraction by the mean and then dividing that particular with the standard deviation. Let's see how the data looks like. So just convert your uh, normalize your given data into based on the subtraction from the mean and the division by the standard deviation. You can use the apply and it is going to result in the same thing with the keys are representing these ABC, right? These are the groups, these are the values. And G transform, we have also see you can do that. So uh, here what we are doing the arithmetic between the groups, between the output of the multiple group operation instead of writing the function. So earlier we wrote the function right here. Sorry. Yes, here normalizing, right? So instead of doing this function, we can directly calculate it. So this is the value minus the mean, and dividing the standard deviation. This is the same thing, same operation, but this is what we call unwrapped. It's because instead of writing a function and passing it to the group by, that is what is meant by the unwrap. So we are directly using the columns to do the analysis, to do the computation on the values in the columns. The last two are the pivot table and the cross table. So you might have seen the Excel, we do a lot of analysis by using the pivots, right? Pivot chart and or you can do the normal pivot. So similarly, you can do in the pandas also. So let's load the tips data set. Right? This is what we have. I just drop few columns, added one tips percentage, and here I'm just pivoting based on the day and smoker, and this is what so these what these values means they are the mean by default. You can use any additional functions. So there is a argument called argagg function. I will show you in a second. Next, here we are doing the pivot based on index is our day, columns is smoker, and the value is the size. So as you can see, the column is smoker, right? Index is day, and this is being pivoted into the size. You can use the margin true to get all the rows and the column data as well. So this is for the size, and this is for the remaining other columns. Here, instead of getting the mean, as I told you, can use any other functions. Like in this case, just to highlight the what is the length, you can it is giving the length of that particular value. And if there are any values, how to deal with that? So you can use fill any with the any substitute value, 0 or 1 or any other values, right? So that's how you can. So this value, the whatever have been written are the null values earlier. Lastly, the cross-tabulation is a special type of pivot table that computes the group frequencies. Okay, so let me load some data. We have a data and let's convert this into data frame. So I'm just reading this from the read table, importing the IO library with the string IO as the function, putting the data because it was separated by space, right? As you can see, this is space and convert into data and then put the cross tab of nationality with handness and see what see. So uh, how many people are left-handed, right-handed, and what about the other rights? And again, you can do the cross tab for this on the tips data sets as well to highlight the your in the index the days and cross tab with the smokers, no, yes, and what are the all. So that's what is we are almost done with the data aggregation, the group operation. I suggest you to look into the couple of this and the part one to get the complete picture. We have covered a lot of inbuilt and the user-defined functions, how to deal with the data aggregation and how to perform the groups in the pandas in Python. Thank you.